my name is Lynn, the builder. I'm not wearing my hard hat right now because it keeps falling.
We can't be together.
We can't be together. Are we doing feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah, you stay over there.
Okay.
So my name is Lynn. I've been at PCC for a couple years now. And with me today is my partner in crime, Dr. Hiro. I know how to use a drill press. Lavanya, yeah. She used a drill press on Tuesday. It's kind of scary.
Making beds.
Yeah. Making beds. It was good times. Uh-oh. She needs to speak more? Louder.
Oh.
Can't see you.
Oh, no, you're off the camera.
Is that good? Okay.
Okay. All right, so we are going to talk about, are you charting like it's 2025? Before we start, totally made this up, we're going to do a quick survey of people for how long you've been live with the EHR, okay, because I'm just curious what we have out here. So how many people have been live on our EHR less than a year?
Congratulations.
Congratulations, and yeah. We'll see how much, you might see a lot of things that are very familiar because we set up your system this way. But Dr. Lavagna's got good talks about things too. All right, how many people under 5 years? Cool. How many people under 10 years? How many people more than 10 years? Yeah, you're the targets. Just saying. You're the targets. Because what we've learned over time is a lot of clients, they set the EHR, updates come out and they don't always update their system to match. So here's our goals. We're going to talk about, by the way, I do implementations. So I work with the new clients. Kristen and Jen back there are two of my teammates. So we implement all the new clients. So we have a set of defaults that every single new client starts with. They don't necessarily stay with it, but it's what we start with. So we're going to review those. Dr. Lavagna is going to throw in her perspective on some of these defaults and how she's using them. You guys got to figure out which ones are going to work for your practice. Okay, we can't determine that for you. Some may or may not work. Then you're going to go back and you're going to implement changes to the EHR. We talk about using EHR functionality instead of the PM. We show one thing to new clients in the practice management. That's it. One thing. If you guys are using the practice management for stuff, now billers, we don't work with the billers as much. So the billers still do some stuff, but your front desk should be able to live in the EHR. Okay, so if they're not, we got to figure that out. Portal scheduling. You guys saw that this morning, right? Everyone went and saw the two people talking about how awesome portal scheduling is. How many people here are not using portal scheduling? How many people don't know what portal scheduling is? Okay, so we're coming up with some changes. Right now, you can decide, do you want to do well visits or do you want to do sick visits? You are going to, right now you're stuck with when those work, okay? Meaning sick visits, it's any appointment at an hour from now. Well visits looks at their next physical date or 3 days out. But in the next release, you will be able to determine what that means, what a sick visit schedule is and what a well is. You don't need to change your schedule. And will your providers even notice if you turn it on, okay? We have people, so why somebody who's not doing it, why not?
We're concerned if you have a block like between, I don't know, 2 and 4, that someone's going to schedule at 2:15 for their well visit instead of 2 o'clock, and then it's going to be extra work for the staff to have to change that.
That's a configuration thing. Yeah.
But I don't think it's something that's...
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Good to know.
Yeah. Dr. Shah. Oh, he's just going to yell. Look at, you're going to run around the mic. Nice.
So I might be naive also, but in our group, we have a PCP, and so with this new scheduling, can you put some guardrails in where it's just, hey, that patient is mine, that they see me, and they can only schedule then on my schedule, or?
Won't they want to schedule with you?
Yes.
So won't they just pick you?
No, my question is...
So you can't. So that is not one of the
Yeah.
things self-scheduling does, but that's an interesting idea, forcing them to pick their PCP for well visits. Yeah.
That's what we wondered, yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's what you're waiting for. Amanda's here taking notes. Thanks, Amanda. Jotting that down. Oops, hold on. There's a mic back there. Sorry, my bad.
At our practice, we have a lot of patients that the parents will call and say, the kid has a runny nose, come in for the runny nose, and then it turns into a full-blown, oh, she's anxious and depressed and
Yeah.
has suicidal ideations, and now it's a 15-minute visit that I cannot do in 15 minutes.
Right,
So
right.
how do they schedule accordingly with...
Dr. Lavanya is going to explain all of that in a minute.
Awesome.
I will try.
Hold on. We're coming back around.
Similar to that, we had a patient who went in and scheduled with a different provider and then got to the office and said, well, I really wanted to see the doctor for this. So she got herself into the schedule and then thought she could just get it moved to the right person.
That's cute.
I will say they do that even when they call in.
They sure do. Yeah.
We
Dr.
get
Schwartz.
concerned about people self-scheduling 6 hours later when their child's breathing fast and hard.
Don't they do that even when they call in?
No, because our staff is trained to ask the right questions.
Okay.
So what we do is if they don't write why they're being seen, we call them to find out why they're being seen, although that's going to be something that's going to be required maybe in the next release. I don't know, rumors.
I just look at Amanda, and Amanda said no.
Not yet,
Not yet.
okay. But if there's a blank in the sick visit, we just have the front desk call them and say, why are they coming in? Because if they're coming in for something we're worried about, we will change the appointment to an earlier appointment. Okay.
This is you.
Huh?
This is you. I can tell.
This is. So when you turn on scheduling, you can have it so that they can only schedule on the diagonal lines. I don't know if you can see them really well.
Those have diagonal lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going like this.
It's hard to see.
But right here,
Now I'm
it's
blind.
not diagonal. And the reason I do that is before closing or before lunch, I don't want them scheduling. That's just for emergencies or if we need to put in a newborn. I really just don't want someone coming in at 4:50 when we close at 5. Because usually what we do is we tell everyone 4:30 and we'll fill up 3 people at 4:30. And that's just how we schedule, so that's why we do it that way. But when I opened up scheduling, self-scheduling, that's the way we made it so that they could self-schedule anywhere. Now, for some people who are worried about, like, our well checks are 20 minutes long. So if you're worried about someone scheduling at 8:10, one thing you could do is have a sick visit at 8:20 and then 8:50, and then they'd be forced to schedule at certain times. So that's one way.
Is it using your built-in templates in the?
Using the built-in templates? Yes.
So if you, right now you can avoid that, right, by, instead of putting it like between 8 and 9, if you wanted to see well visits, instead of doing like 4 blocks of 15 minutes, you could do 2 30-minute slots. And that wouldn't allow anybody to book at the 8:15 mark.
Right. So
Right.
if you're using a 30-minute unit, that would definitely restrict what they're doing. Yes.
But they
Yes.
wouldn't be able to.
Right.
Correct.
But the cool thing is you can, when you're doing the configuration of self-scheduling, you can, and this is going to be talked about in another session, more in depth.
Yeah.
But this is basically you can limit things by saying, I want a portal appointment here, I don't want a portal appointment here, and you can get very specific with the color coding to make sure you can avoid the 8:10 versus 8 a.m.
Are you able to change this per physician? So if one physician is slammed
Yes.
and filled, they just can't, and the
Yes.
next one is new and they need a lot of appointments, you can?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
great.
per provider.
It's an actual visit type, so you have to choose if you have like well visit, our well visit is light blue, our well visit portal is not red enough.
No.
Okay, wow. Yeah, hi, okay. So basically, you have to make it that appointment type, though. It's a specific appointment type. So if you have well visit, that's light blue, and you have well visit portal, that's hash marked. So you have to actually change their template to show the
Yeah.
well visit, you know.
If
don't
that's
just
how
say
you
like-
decide to
Yeah,
do
you-
it.
yeah, you don't just say like portal. You have to actually make that visit type.
Yeah. again, there's another session that'll talk way more about this, because we have like 3 more things to talk. No, just kidding. One more question. One more question.
Quick question. So we were thinking of utilizing this for sick visits for our urgent care in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Can we modify it so that it only opens after a certain time frame, like 5 o'clock in the afternoon opens for next day only?
So sick visits by default are
For
an
urgent
hour
care.
after the current
It's
day.
like a morning urgent care.
So not yet,
Okay.
but in the next release, they'll be able to change, you'll be able to change the settings for when they can schedule a sick visit.
Okay.
Would you say this now?
Right now, it's 1 hour from now, right, Amanda? Yeah.
What's the minimum and what's the maximum?
A sick visit, I don't think there's 5 days, 4 days? 4 days.
They can schedule like as many days ahead, and that's another concern, like what if they fill up the next day, and then there's sick visits in the morning, how many days in?
Right. So again, I would never
Can you
say.
repeat the question?
Oh, repeat the question. So what happens if they fill up the schedule before the next day and you don't have any? Well, first, don't open them all if you're worried about that. Second, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, there's way, I would not say that's a reason to not do it. And again, with the next release, you'll have more control over what that means, when they can schedule the sick, when they can schedule the well.
And we have a note that says if you're coming in for a sick visit and there's not availability, please call us right away. So we've got that already in there. I mean,
Yeah.
they just have to think a little.
Little.
So when I did scheduling, I actually changed my protocols. I know you don't have to, but what I did is I duplicated my my well checks with like adding anxiety and depression, ADHD med check, asthma check. I hated it. It was painful. But what happens is also when I have Chattis questionnaires, they're all in there too. So then I don't have to have like 2 different like visits for the same child to get those Chattises. I hated this. I really did, but I love it now because it's done. Now the only problem is if I have to change anything in any of these, I'll have to do it for all of them. But I love it.
Cool. Next. Oh, chart exports. I recently went to a client and I'm like, what's up with all the stacks of paper? They didn't realize you can do chart exports in the EHR. Okay, so that one-click button export that y'all wanted all these years, it exists. Okay, if you're still printing out charts as a medical records transfer, you don't need to do that. You can now go into the tools menu, do chart export, and you can decide, do I include phone notes or no? Because it used to include phone notes. Now it's not something you typically want to include. So you have to say, yes, I want phone notes. That will create a zipped file that has a password, and you can send the zip file and then the password to whoever needs that chart. And it gives them the exported chart without you guys having to print anything. So if you're still printing out charts for exports, look up the chart export tool.
How do you send them the zip file?
How do you send them the zip file? You can email it to them. Remember, it's password protected. So you can email it to them. Do not put the password and the zip file in the same email. I would probably email the zip file and maybe call them and let them know what the password is. Or send them a portal message with the password, but I would not do both. Don't do both at the same time.
You can't put the zip file in the portal.
What? Oh, can you put the zip file in a portal message? No?
No,
No? No?
no,
No?
just PDFs.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would have to send a separate email to them. Yes?
Is it including all the chart documents or just the chart notes?
It includes everything. It's a really big zip file. We're waiting for more enhancements before we use it. But it does send
Everything.
everything.
Which is good and bad.
Yeah.
Where do you find the chart export? I believe it's under the tools menu. Wait, it's not under the tools? You're wrong. I'm wrong. You have to go into a patient and then it's under yes.
Under yes?
Under the reports. I'm having a hard time finishing my thoughts today. Too much caffeine, not enough caffeine, I'm not sure.
It's really cold.
Yeah, so you do have to be in the patient. I always forget that little trick. You have to be in the patient for some things. All right, so yeah, care plans. A lot of people don't, how many people here actually use the care plans?
Really?
We have to for PCC.
Right.
Okay, you have to, but
But you don't like it.
I don't love them. I
Okay.
think it's redundant and not really useful in my workflow, and I'm trying to figure out how to.
People don't like it. Okay.
we
it's fine.
hear that a lot.
Yeah.
But
can
it helps you track things, right? It helps you track the other providers or anyone involved.
So what I use it for, I mean,
Yeah.
I am patient-centered medical home, so we have to have a care plan. And I use AI for that part. So whenever I go into a patient room, my AI scribes, and then I tell my AI, hey, make me a care plan, and then I copy and paste it. And then the next visit, I'll copy the old care plan and say, last visit, this happened, and then record, and then it updates my care plan for me. And we don't, I mean, it's nice because sometimes what I'll also do is in the medications, list the medications that were bad side effects so I don't keep repeating the same meds. But it's helpful in that way. And I don't know, for me, patient-centered medical home did not like the PCC care plan. And so I ended up having to just copy and paste a real care plan. So this works really quickly. It takes me about 2 minutes. Maybe 3-4 minutes to read it. Yes.
We use these similarly, but we also use them for just sending patients referrals to specialists.
Yes, so she said that she uses them for patient referrals. We do that too. That way, when we send a referral packet, we attach it to that care plan, and then we write all our updates into that care plan so that anyone who's waiting on that task for the referral, they can just go to this care plan and see what's going on. All right, questions about that? No? Okay. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
What AI scribe are you using?
I'm using Scribeberry. It's like strawberry, but it's Scribeberry. And it's a shriveled strawberry looking logo. So yes, that's the rest of my care plan.
New forms. Who's still using the old forms? Okay. I'm just going to say you're the last one standing for a reason. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. So the new form still is awesome. Make sure you're using it if you're not. The signatures. Does anyone use the restriction on signatures? The security where only certain people can use your signature on forms? Does anyone know that exists? Yeah. So you can limit who's allowed to print forms with your signature. So if you are worried about, especially larger offices, you don't want certain roles potentially or people to be able to use your signature, you can go into that forms tool and limit who has access to provider signatures. So their forms would print out blank with no signature, no name. Or no signature but the name. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And here's an example of a form that I made for a safety plan for patients, and I just pull it up in the room, and we fill it out together, the patient and myself, and then I print it, and I give them hard copies and put one in the portal for them. But I'd say, I print 2 copies, one for mom, one for child, and or dad, and they just put it on their fridge or wherever they want to, so they have it available. Yes?
This looks great and really easy to use. I'm wondering, just like there used to be, like, there probably still is a library in PCC for, like, protocols, has anyone started to create, like, a forms library for people's favorite?
Do we have a forms library? Could we have a forms library? We certainly could. We do not currently have a forms library. I mean, we have an internal one that we use for state forms to make sure we're doing the same consistent state form across different clients. But we don't have a forms library. I mean, we have default forms that we send out with new clients. And they're not as pretty as this because they get the letterhead, but you guys can add letterhead to your forms. Okay, if you don't have your letterhead on your forms in the new forms tool, you gotta do it. There's a letterhead and a footer. Make sure you're utilizing that so your forms look pretty. Because they can look really pretty in the EHR.
They
Not so
can.
much in partner.
And I still use the old form, like the PDFs as
Yeah.
well for school forms. So, if you have, it's almost back to school time, so if you have a lot of asthma action plans and allergy action plans. So in our counties, we have like 5 forms just for the allergy action plan, and you have to fill it out, and it's the same thing over and over again. So I had PCC create a fillable PDF so I went from 15 minutes to 2 minutes in filling out the form.
And to build on that, I don't know what's the next slide.
I don't know.
Okay, more forms.
Okay.
Okay. So, quick one on that. So we get forms every once in a while that are like dozens of questions. And if we do this response thing, you're having to go through every one. So I've been recently telling clients, give me a normal version, okay? And then we'll have a version that's not normal, which you gotta print out anyway. So it'll be a blank version and one that's all norms. So if you have a form that you have to print it out and fill it in and then scan it in, but 95% of the time you're checking off the same things, right? Because they're all normal. Ask your client advocate or the rapid response team that, here, I want one with the normals all checked off.
That's what I
Here's a
do.
copy. Boom.
That's how you save the time.
That's how you save the time. You have it default to normals and then you have a blank one that you have to fill out.
Or white out the app when it's abnormal.
Or white.
That's what I do.
Wait, so when you go into forms, you pick either the normal
Yeah.
one or the other one?
Yes.
Or you can change some of the answers?
No, you pick the normal or you pick the other one.
I just have a normal one and then white out what isn't normal.
Not on her computer screen though.
Yeah. No.
So yeah.
This is a forms request. So this time of year, our portal messages are filled with 3300, 3231. These are the forms in Georgia that they use for hearing vision to go back to school, vaccine form. Their asthma action plans, their sports physicals. So sports physicals for us, the first 2 pages the parents have to fill out. And so I already have it in here that please fill out the sports physical history questionnaire. And once they submit that to me, I just print this out. And all I need to do is put the person signing it as well as their vision, because that doesn't come over. But the height, weight, and everything comes from the last well check. And then all these X's were already pre-planted in there. And my address was pre-planted.
We got to pause because we have. That was the question, yes.
Yes.
You can have them e-sign documents
Yes.
in the portal template. No.
Well, it depends on if they have an editable PDF. Otherwise, they'll print it out at home, fill it out, and then put it back in the portal for us.
Nothing's happening. There it goes. I saw color. Hold on, we gotta wait for our projector to warm back up.
Sorry about that. That's okay.
It's okay. We're good.
Questions, sure.
How did you combine that form with the Chattis when you were doing the protocol?
How did you combine?
I don't know, or you said you put
Oh.
in. the anxiety and depression with
Oh,
The
in
visit
my well
reasons
check?
and the well checks, yeah.
Yeah.
So in my screenings, I have all my screening questionnaires as well. And the questions that I use for anxiety and depression are incorporated into the well check.
That's through the forms.
No, that's just through my well check protocol and not
Yeah.
through the forms.
That's just a configuration. If you're not sure how to do that, reach out to your client advocate, and they can help you with that, setting up your Chattis forms, linking them to things. All right. Oh, Snap Text. Snap Text. Is anyone not using Snap Text? Who's not using Snap Text?
You will now.
You will now, because what's happening in the next release?
Snap text.
To be able to search Snap Text, okay? So if you're not using Snap Text, we have practices, more and more of the new practices, they are loading Snap Text into the EHR for their plan, for their physical exam. They're basically, all those checkboxes you guys are using for all those protocols, they're getting rid of them and they're using the generic note box, which is the paragraph looking one, and they're using Snap Text, okay? If you are typing something in more than once a day, and I don't just mean the clinical staff, the front desk, if they are using send text and they're typing in the same thing more than once a day, they should have a Snap Text. So don't think Snap Texts are just for the clinical staff. Your billers and your front desk can use them as well. If, again, typing in something more than once, go ahead and use it.
So my back office, they'll do one for family history, like what questions do we specifically want answered? And then social history, what do we want in the social history? They also will send information through the portal, and some people word it well and some don't. So we have a standardized thing that they'll put in for parents. So it sounds nice and happy.
Yeah. It's also a way to make sure you don't get typos.
Yeah. All right, questions? Okay.
Now everyone's going to want a copy of your Snap Text. All right, fake users, AKA user groups. How many people assign tasks to specific people at their office? You guys still do that. All right, so look at people and say, what? We set up new clients with these fake users, and the reason we do it is because MA, Rita, is working today, but tomorrow she's not. Okay, MA, I can't think of another name. Anna. Sally,
Yeah.
there we go, is working tomorrow. And if you do an order and you send that task to a specific user tomorrow, you got to change the user. Okay? Whereas if you're using these generic users, you could send it to the nurse/MA user. Okay? You literally add these as users in the user administration tool. I envy your blanket. You can add them in the user administration tool. They don't get any permissions. Nobody logs in as them. And what your staff does is they make sure that when they're doing their filters, they're selecting the correct filters. And that's a big step that you have to do, is make sure when you add the nurse MA or the front desk, that the front desk is adding that fake user to their filters. And that's how it works. Okay? The idea is our system is all about memorization, right? You order something and it remembers who you tasked it to the last time. Well, unless you want to change it every day, even if you work with the same person every day, guess what? They get sick sometimes, right? Or they take vacation, even if you don't want them to. So if you use these generic users, and these are some of them, you can do that. Multiple locations, do it by location. So the Winooski front desk is different from the Burlington front desk, right? And if you have someone that just works at one, you can go ahead and have them fix their filters on the fly. It doesn't cost you anything to add users. We don't charge you by the user, right? We're not like the other vendors who actually have user licenses. So it doesn't cost you anything to add fake users. We have practices that have added their own versions of the fake users. They add to what we have as defaults because it works for them. So if you're still assigning tasks to people, think about creating a fake user, because if that one person is out, you gotta edit the order every time.
This is the only ones we use. Oops. So back office, front office, pending labs, and referral. I just couldn't think of another, because it needs a first name and a last name, so
Oh, yeah.
referral.
Yeah. I know what you mean. We have nurse MA. Yeah, and you have to make sure that they can have tasks assigned to them when you're adding them in user administration. Other than that, again, nobody logs in as them.
And make sure they turn it on, like have it as a,
In their filter. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. Make sure they're adding it to if they don't add it to their filters, it's not going to work. Okay? So make sure everyone's updating their filters. And, okay, again, just went to a really large practice. Yes, all of our staff has their filters set up properly. Yes, Michael?
Add it to your filter and then set as the
Set it as
default.
your default, thank you.
Yes.
So went to a large practice and they were like, everyone's got their filter set, and I'd go like, why they got a 99 plus? They went into that task queue and they had 30,000 tasks because their filters were not set up right. I know, 99 plus makes me anxious. Here's the thing, the more tasks you have in a tab, the slower the EHR loads when you log in, okay? So most people don't know that. So you want to make sure your filters are set. So now large practices, you're going to hit 99 plus, right? It's just reality. But you shouldn't have a queue where you have tens of thousands of items in it. If you do, you don't have your filter set right, or people are not closing their tasks. Pet peeve, close your tasks. Yes.
Create a new fake user.
How do you create a new fake user?
Sorry.
Oh, I'm supposed to answer that.
Oh,
sorry.
you want me to
Yeah.
do it?
So you go into the user tools, user administration,
Tools, okay.
user administration if you have permission,
Okay.
and you add a new user.
Okay.
Create a fake name, make sure they can have tasks. Yeah. They don't get any roles. You don't, it doesn't matter what you give them for a password because again, no one's logging in.
Yeah. And how would you update that default?
How would you update the filters?
Yeah.
You click on the drop down and it's going to give you a list of varied ones. So when you want to update those filters, and it's filters on the visit task queue, the messaging queue, are the ones you're probably going to fix.
Yes.
So you hit the drop down, you find the user, you click on it.
And then how would you save that? Those are every time you open up your EHR system, it saves.
Save as my default, which is all the way over to this hand, right?
Okay, the right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Michael, the one thing Michael just reminded me to say. Thanks, Michael. Any other questions?
So this is just a sample of our, I had to look at everything that was completed because we don't keep that many visit tests. But you can look at pending lab, referrals. I even keep it for, like mine will show everyone because you never know when something gets unassigned or, you know, and nobody knows what's going on. So mine is set to default to everyone for messages and visit tasks, but everyone else's is itemized.
Yeah, at least one person needs to have the user unassigned. Because if you get a new provider or new staff who orders something and does not assign it, you may miss it. Okay, so somebody should have unassigned so they can verify you're not missing anything. Visit status. So this is when you check people in, that's a visit status, and that little box changes, right? So defaults, we now have a checkout to let them know that they're going to check out. We have a results ready for labs. So you know that the doctor doesn't, they have the little status counter. You guys remember you can put those at the bottom, right? So they'll see that color for results ready and they'll know that one of their patients has a lab back and they can go look at the lab, okay? Breastfeeding means the room's not available, okay?
Don't go in there.
Don't go in there. Don't bring a new patient in there. RPROV stands for rescue provider because you're in the room with that parent that just won't let you go, right? Happens, right? So you casually hit the little RPROV status, your staff sees it and knocks and says, hey, you got that important phone call from that specialist that you can never talk to? Right. So it's basically, come get me out of this room. It's that parent. You remember that parent? I've had clients call it other things, but that's what we defaulted to. Look at you.
So these are our visit statuses. So These all are my MAs.
And it's all the same color. Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and then if they're worked up or we're waiting on Chattis,
Yep.
we have Chattis, then ready provider, then with the doctor, then we do ready nurse, and then when everything's done, clean room. If we know they're gonna be in there for a while but not really nursing, we're just gonna put finished. Because sometimes if it's a 12-year-old, you don't wanna put nursing.
Yeah.
If they're getting a breathing treatment, if we're waiting on labs, if we're waiting on a radiology or lab that we sent them out for, that's, we'll leave it until we actually get the results by the end of the day, so.
Then you can't check out the patient. As soon as you check out the patient, those flags go away.
So you can't mark them as gone.
So what we do is we mark, if you can't check out the patient because you're waiting on that lab, what we do is we mark it as clean, but then my nurses will clean the room, remove the room number, and then put it back to radiology or lab follow-up or stat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the key, is if the room's actually empty, you gotta remove the room number from that visit so they
Yeah.
know it's available. Sweet. I like the clean room one.
Yeah.
Portal templates. So attachments, agreements. Agreements are cool. You send people, like maybe you have a new parent or new patient family, and you can say, hey, I need you to go to the portal, because you're going to have a snap text that gives them the exact instructions on how to access the portal and how to send this document that has agreements. They can e-sign the agreements and get you that signature before they even come in the office, okay? So it's an e-signature, it's not a physical signature. Attachments. Yeah, okay, we have upload insurance cards, but with patient pre-check-in now. Hopefully they're doing it through patient pre-check-in. But if you get a proactive parent that wants you to send a new insurance card before they come in, you can have an attachment version of the portal template that prompts them to take a picture of the front of your card, take a picture of the back of your card, and then send it to you where you guys can get it and update things. Yeah, demographics update, ditch this, turn on patient pre-check-in. We'll talk about that in a little bit, I'm pretty sure. There's always an other. I would suggest that, I know you can have specific portal templates, but I still like the other one that's generic, because if it doesn't fit one of those templates that you already have, because you got very specific templates, they're not gonna know which one they're gonna use, and they're going to either call you or they're gonna use the incorrect one and not get the information you need. So I would create a generic one. And you can assign it to someone. You can assign any of the portal templates to someone. I have offices where each doctor has their own, and they actually want to get portal messages directly sent to them. Not very often.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? I don't understand it either, but I guess their parents were used to it from their previous system, so they stayed with that workflow, and you can do that. You just got a few.
Yeah, these are the ones that were already completed. That's why it's 99 plus. But so our portal messages, we have medication refill request, referral request, medication forms, prescriptions, school forms, and then now people put subjects in everything too, so it varies. But we don't have them automatically assigned, so if there's one that's blank, someone will read it and assign it to whoever needs it. But questions about portals? Portal templates.
Is anyone not using portal messages? I saw you had a question. Here comes Althea. Everyone's using portal templates? Whoa.
Are those all portal templates that you just showed?
No, those were just
subject lines.
Subject lines.
Okay, I was like, whoa.
No, I only have like 5 to 8.
Yeah. The subject line's configurable whether or not you have that. So if you have something that if you have a portal template that's called something like insurance card update, you then say, I don't want a subject line, because you don't want them adding their own subject line when your subject line should be insurance card update. But the other one has a subject line because you don't know what it's going to be.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question about the unassigned user task?
Yes.
So if you have a provider who has an order and they don't assign a user to it, if someone else assigns the user, on the order that that other provider created, will it default to that, or does the user have to?
It's by the user.
Okay.
Yeah. I know, wouldn't it be cool if we could fix it for people? No. Yes.
I'm curious how people handle portal messages. Sometimes we get them with like 15 photos, and we're always struggling. The person who's triaging at the front desk, like, do we create a visit for this? Do we create a phone visit, a telemedicine visit? Do we bring them in? Which creates a lot of work, and there are lots and lots of these messages. So I'm curious how people are handling that.
First, we disable that person's portal. No. So what
It's always the same person.
Right, and it's always the same.
75 pictures next time.
So if I see that, I'm going to tell my front desk, go ahead and schedule them a visit. So I'll assign them a task to that portal and say appointment needed.
Yeah.
And if they've written me a letter that's like 3 pages long, we're doing a telemedicine visit, so I can read it while they're talking to me.
So you can charge for it.
Yes.
Is there a way to delay your portal message? So I want to send these after I leave at 5 o'clock. I don't want a response. How do I send
that
it?
idea.
How do I send
The
that
answer is
request?
no. But I'm sure somebody from PCC is walking that.
I do it all the time.
How do you do it?
Because I'm compulsive about having to answer it right away, but I don't want to send it, because if I send it 2 minutes after they sent it, then I get the reply 2 minutes later. Exactly. Right?
So you save the
So
draft.
I save the draft. And at the end of the day, I tell my front desk, don't come back and say, Dr. D, you have 10 saved drafts. You want me to send them? I say, all of those saved drafts, I'm going to push send at 5.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fairly new. The drafts used to disappear in the void, but now you can see when you have a draft.
Yeah.
I like that workaround.
That is. We need to add that next year.
That's nice. You're going to add that next year. We're stealing it.
Slightly different portal question. So we get a lot of people that call in to reset their portal.
Reset their portal password?
Yeah.
Why don't they do it themselves?
It doesn't work.
How does it not?
It just doesn't. It never doesn't work for our patients to reset it on their own. They
To
have
reset
call
their
us, and
portal
we have to
password?
do it every time. Like 25 phone calls a day about portals.
20? Okay. I feel you're exaggerating.
Maybe slightly, but when I tell you it's a daily occurrence.
It's a
all day
daily
long,
occurrence.
all day long.
Okay. I've heard this every once in a while, but every time we get an example, it then works.
Nope.
So, yeah, we really need an example. We need a parent that's really willing to, wait and work with us.
Or just create a fake user for yourself and make yourself the portal parent and then try to do it yourself.
But if it works for you, that doesn't mean it's not working for them. That's the problem. Because it works for us, but it's not working for this one parent.
All our parents, it doesn't, when they go to reset the portal and it says it's going to send them something to their email, it doesn't. They have to call us, we have to reset it. So
Is it only with
if you want to
email?
use it as an example, I can call you on Monday when I'm back and we can use me.
Fantastic.
Because
Is it only email users?
Isn't that the only way you can?
You can do cell phones.
Cell phones.
Well, they use it on their cell phone.
So you have the option to provide an email.
No.
Yes.
They can't.
So they can do email or cell as a portal user.
Both. That it's connected to their email and their cell phone.
It doesn't work with Gmail? Look, Amanda, parent that had it not work.
And
She doesn't want to
we did
touch
it with my cell phone, and it worked fine. But I guess our practice had that.
But the
problem
email
too.
didn't work.
Right, and it was Gmail. But when
Gmail. So, okay, so now start tracking for us. If it's Gmail all the time, that'll be interesting. Oh, you're Yahoo. Yes, Amanda. Hold on. You got to have the mic.
A lot of examples where this has happened, the portal user has unsubscribed from a broadcast message, which also unsubscribes them from email notifications through the portal. Possibly.
So they have to resubscribe. Okay, that was Amanda from PCC. There could still be issues, but yeah, if they, I always forget the unsubscribe thing they can do now. Buggers. Don't let them do that.
How do they resubscribe?
How do they resubscribe? That's a really good question. I can't answer that. Amanda, do you know? We're going to have Amanda
It's a
answer.
longer, complicated answer. We could answer at the end if there's time.
Okay. All right, don't go anywhere. Immunizations, okay? I showed this 2 years ago for the first time, and people were like, what? So by default, when you add, or PCC adds vaccines, because you can't do it anymore, when we add vaccines to your system, by default, it appears on the history, even though they may not have a date associated with it, okay? There is a configuration option in the EHR for immunizations that allows you to uncheck every immunization, okay? And what this does is it shortens the list. With all those COVID shots, how long was your immunization history, right? If you uncheck everything, lines only appear for the shots they've actually had, okay? So if you haven't done this, do it. You'll be like, what? I still go to clients, and older clients, and they have this huge list, and I'm like, uncheck everything. I do have an enhancement request asking that when we add a new vaccine that it automatically not be checked off, but not everyone's emailed us to say do that thing. Yes?
I unchecked everything was great, except I kept checked HPV and MenB because I just needed the visual reminders to make sure that I would see that they're blank if they're blank.
And that's fine. So you left 2 specifically checked because you wanted that physical reminder to say they haven't had an HPV.
That's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
We're stealing it.
We're stealing it. Listen to her. I'm retiring before next year.
No, you're not.
Documents. You guys added a trash bucket? You know how you have your different file sources for documents? Have you added one called trash yet? Or, excuse me, have you called support and asked them to add one called trash yet? Okay, you know how you go to a patient and you remove a document and you want to throw it away? Where does it go? Back into one of your normal ones, right? So what happens? Your front desk says, oh, let me link that back up, right? But if you had a trash bucket, when you remove the document, you say put it in the trash, and then every week or so, somebody goes into the trash and actually removes it from the trash bucket. Okay, so if you want a trash document category, you need to call support and say, I need a new category called trash.
Everyone needs to make sure that they're not seeing that bucket when they see all the other
And make sure that is not your default bucket you're viewing. Absolutely. Absolutely. All of a sudden they're linking all the trash. No. Ooh, visit reasons. Anyone have this situation where the staff forgets to change the visit reason when they're scheduling? Okay, if you do, create a visit reason called select a visit reason. Right? Because it says select a visit reason. And maybe they're more likely to actually do it. And if they schedule a visit for select a visit reason, you can run a report and see who did that and do a retraining. Right? So that's Dr. Peters from Mount Carmel. Peds of Mount Carmel came up with that one. So it's kind of cool because, yeah, it allows you, because if it's sick, you still know who it is, but it's harder to figure out that it's a mistake. If it's a select a reason, that's an obvious mistake scheduling. Right? Right. Right.
Right.
Right. Growth charts. I'm checking the time. We have until 2:15, right? We're just scrolling. Make sure your growth charts are configured to appear in the portal. We had a round of implementations years ago where we got to actually talk about that. And so growth charts weren't appearing in the portal. And if you're not a portal user, you are, so you would know. But if you're not a portal user for your own practice, you may not even realize that growth charts aren't showing up. So that is in the configuration growth charts. You can easily see there's a checkbox appear in the portal. And make sure those are checked off. Please and thank you. Ooh, growth charts.
Yes. So, and make sure they're in your protocols too.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the default protocols we sent out at times, the sick visit didn't have a growth chart because children don't grow during sick visits. So yeah, it's easy to add them. It's a protocol builder. We're not teaching that today. Yes?
I may have asked about this a couple years ago, but is there an open enhancement request to be able to selectively turn off growth charts for Portal View for teenagers? Sometimes we don't want those girls looking at those
There's
growth
not.
charts, but we still want them to be able to use the portal.
But there's probably an enhancement request for it. Task types. This is one of those wonderful things. We added a lot of task types. We actually grabbed all the task types from like 2 years worth of new clients and said, what are they using? We created these documents. I'm not going to get into all of these. And they are there's different task types. Documents have task types. If you keep going, I'll remember the other ones. So there's a lot of task types. Unfortunately, you guys can't add them. Okay? So if you're like, oh, I'd like this start urgent thing, or I like this lab test needed task type, you have to call support and we have to add it for you. And then when you do that, say, wouldn't it be nice if you guys had an enhancement request where we could add our own task types? And then we could create an enhancement request. And the more clients we get on it, the more I can go to Amanda and say, hey, Amanda, look, this is something people really want. Can the 45 people in this room just... Michael?
And from the support perspective, when you call or you send an email, where are you seeing the task?
Yeah.
Is it a document? Is it a message?
Yeah.
Where are you seeing it so that I know which...
There's phone tasks, messaging tasks, visit tasks. There's all sorts of tasks, and we need to know where to put it. But can all 45 of you, Amanda's busy writing down everyone's name right now.
I don't think she is.
I don't think she is either. It's okay, we have a list. She is writing things down. We can get you the list of people here. And I'm assuming everyone at home wants this exact same thing. All right.
So these are some of the ones that I have. I even have a please fax, but
what's that? Just kidding.
Oh, I was like, this is very
faxing.
archaic. Yeah, we still do it.
Okay.
And then I think I also have one that says call patient with result, since I have some. Oh, there it is. It's there. But prescription needed, appointment needed. So those things will help move things along quicker.
Yeah.
Is that internal where you're going, like you're sending something to a nurse or to a front staff?
So you're tasking someone. So whenever you task something, there's a drop down of what you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about like when parents send in portal messages? Can we add more to that, like more selections?
More tasks to it?
Like ER paperwork or something?
Oh, portal templates.
Yes, portal
Yes,
templates.
you certainly can. You can add more portal templates.
That's amazing.
Yes, you're not limited. Oh, now we're getting into protocols.
All right.
I feel like this is not in the right order, but keep going.
No, it is.
Okay.
There's a method to this madness.
There's a
So
madness.
with my protocols for well child checks, in my components, I feel like people underutilize display the last saved answer for each
Amen.
question. And so what happens is when you have these displayed, when you go, well, it is in a different order. I'm sorry, you're right. When you go into the well child history, you can see the last visit note and what they said in the last well visit. And so that way, when you're talking to them, you're like, oh, look, you finally got your child to stop taking the bottle. That's great, or something like that. So, or if they have a history of constipation, you can follow their poop journey. And then another thing that we do is we add our portals for patients at 12 years and up. So that's an actual screening order so that my staff remembers to do that.
So they make it an order. So it's not just do it, it's here's an order. Remind you to do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Under screening, that's under
Yeah,
screening?
I do it under screening.
She does it under screening. Because most of the time it's your staff doing the screening orders, so it makes sense for them to see it there.
So what year did you start doing that?
12 years and up.
Yeah. So whatever year you want those portal users.
This is at my 12-year protocol.
No, we got an hour left. Althea said we had 5 minutes.
Okay. Let's see. And here's another one where I used the display from the last visit for my development. So yes, we use ASQs, but for my little babies, we'll do a little bit of a developmental screening for 1 to 6 months old. So my protocol kind of stays the same across that age range. And then for my sick visits, the way I do it is I have a general sick visit protocol, and then I add a protocol to it. So whether it be earache, GI issues, sore throat, and then those protocols are different based on different labs, physical exams, and things like that. So this is like my earache. So when you have an abnormal ear in here, you'll have the abnormal acute inflammation, what side, no rupture of membrane.
So that's an auto notes.
Yes, so that will be set up in my earache protocol.
Yep.
You guys use auto notes, right? I don't think anyone does. Yes.
You can?
Yes, right? I can share my protocols. Well, you would have to
Yes, you would have to ask us. You would have to ask PCC.
to share
But yeah.
protocols.
You can also, yours are not on there, I apologize. Protocols.pcc.com has a lot of protocols on it. We just updated it in January, so it is a lot more protocols than we had.
They just don't like mine, I think.
She didn't pay us enough.
Yeah. At the end of my sick visits, I also have the E&M visit level so that I can drop it down and write down why it's chronic and if I prescribe medicine. So just a little note in case I get audited. I'm told you don't have to have a little blurb about G2211, but it's already in there, so
Yeah.
it's there.
It's on the defaults too now, so.
Oh.
Yeah, because I thought it was cool. Our client defaults for new clients. So new clients get a protocols.
I don't know why it looks like this. But,
AI and charting, I don't know, that's weird. Hard to read.
So this is just my AI Scribeberry system. So what I do, it's just a website, so I log in and then it now
projector.
automatically records, but you have different like templates, so SOAP note, mental health visit, nutrition, lactation, and you can do in person, you can type stuff here, you can do telemedicine, and I apologize, but this is just
It's the projector. If you have the slides, you can download the slides and the slides will be clear.
yes, but this is a generated HPI, a fake one, from a recording. And basically it gives me all the things, activity, rest, long-term consideration. So the whole plan is right there that we talked about. This is where you can, when you do telemedicine, it actually asks you, it goes to your Chrome or whatever you're using, and it asks which tab is the one that you're linking to, so it can listen to that telemedicine. But even if you did in person, it can still hear, so I don't know why it's there. Afterwards, in the same visit, I can also ask the AI to write a disability letter, 504 plan, a letter of medical necessity, so it really saves me a lot of time. Yes.
So when you're using AI, because I've yet to do it, Denise, my colleague, has started using it, how are you doing your well childs? Because I know there's a lot of cutting and pasting, so.
I don't use it for well child.
You don't, okay.
Except if I know there's going to be a patient, like I know this mom's going to talk a really long time, or there's going to be a lot of oh by the ways, and I know there's going to be a sick visit add-on. That's when I'll use it, but for regular well visits, I don't. Okay. I just do a lot of clicking. And so this is a copy of the disability letter. Obviously, it's better on the slides. Labs. So this is the last thing. So labs, we have a problem with LabCorp and Quest. So when you order like 5 labs, you have to change each individually. So what we did is we added the code with the order name so that you can pick whichever one it is and they'll both be there. So like sometimes you'll have LabCorp, but then they go to Quest. Well, the order number is already in there. So that was our workaround. I thought maybe that might be helpful.
Tricky. I like it.
Well,
change,
yeah, if it's
that can be changed. So if your lab names are getting cut off, that's the
shorten the lab-
configuration.
yeah, or you can just shorten the lab
Or we can
name.
edit the lab form to make it longer.
We do have to end it as 2:15.
Oh, wait, how many,
That's
keep
it.
going. I don't know what else. Workflows, blah, 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 session takeaways, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Look, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And Althea's cutting us off. So yeah, hopefully you guys picked something, found something that you can use when you go home. Reach out to your client advocates, reach out to me, lynn@pcc.com. I will be happy to answer any questions. I love protocol config, so if you have questions about protocols. Thanks for coming, guys.